The member for Wirrawong.
Representing the biggest concentration of Bangladeshis in this country, I'm very mindful of many issues in the country. Whilst it has made monumental gains in regards to its birth rate and is internationally renowned for its educational outcomes, it obviously is faced with a serious climate change issue, which was focused upon last week by revelations of the collapse of the West Antarctic ice sheet. However, another issue that's come on the agenda very much in the past year has been the question of industrial safety in the garment industry, which accounts for 80% of Bangladesh's foreign earnings. Now, the collapse and death of people as a result of the activities of Sohail Rana, a businessman who with significant political contacts, who fled to the border and had to be detained by police. The death of those 1,100 people was a very serious international focus. I note, however, that despite that focus, despite the fact that companies have signed up to international accords, most particularly European rather than North American, I should note, the situation is still very serious. The New York University Centre for Business and Human Rights made this analysis of the situation in Bangladesh quite recently. The government of Bangladesh lacks the resources, administrative capacity and often the will to protect workers in garment factories. Local industry enjoys outsized influence in the country's politics, which impacts the establishment and enforcement of rigorous registration. It should be noted that one of the outcomes of the international outrage of the plaza destruction was that for the first time workers didn't have to have permission from employers to actually join unions. If we have a look at some of the realities of trying to police this system, at the end of August, 1,500 factories, only 237 had union representatives. When we talk about union representation, we're not actually talking about a very specific union structure on the site. That's any presence at all. Sarah Butler in the Guardian of April 25th certainly had a major expose in regards to that matter. Very recently, we've had the situation of Softex and Fame Knitting, which have had to be closed down because of continuing safety issues similar to what caused this catastrophic collapse in the first place. The comments of Rowan Salim, the Softex chief executive, typifies what we are facing. He said the closure was, quote, unfair to the workers. Unfair they might not have been killed. There were, quote, serious structural problems and they continue in other factories. Locks on fire exits, lack of sprinkler and fire alarms, chaotic cabling and overladen buildings. That is the reality of the country now. We have, as I say, at European behest, organised by the ILO and some international garment companies, we have had improvements in regards to the oversight of these plants. However, the situation continues to be very serious. We've had allusions in the previous speaker to the disappearance of one union leader. We've had recently the shots fired at demonstrators who still haven't received their compensation, the $645 per person that was promised. They still haven't, some of them haven't received it even now, and as late as April, March, people were fired upon. Bangladesh's cabinet, as I say, has only now had some amendments to a 2006 Labour Act, which, as I said earlier, seriously eroded union authority. Whilst there have been some notable activities by companies such as the Disney Corporation, European operators, it's still alarming to see that Benetton, as another example, in March had a factory closed down for their Olympus subsidiary, whereby workers as young as 13 and 16 were working in the plant. The conditions were totally unsafe. And once again, we've got a very interesting comment from management. Their response to having 13 and 16-year-old workers in unsafe conditions was, quote, at least they are not on the streets. Now, I agree with the mover of this resolution that Australian consumers should be mindful of the realities of Australian companies not signing up to this. They're following rather disreputable organisations such as Walmart in being resistant. Just Group and Best and Less are leading companies in this country that have failed to act, failed to protect workers. Basically, they're more concerned that they can get cheaper product in this country with the exploitation of Bangladeshi workers, and I fully agree with the resolution as moved.